things could be really perfect, and you gave her every single thing, like on a silver platter. Bills are paid, you make money, you're 6 foot, 6 feet and over, a high value man, right? You got a castle. You're a quarterback of the New England Patriots, and seven-time football champion, NFL champion, right? In the case of Prince Harry, right, you have a castle. You come from a royal family, and then you hear stories about how life actually backfires on people like those two. And I want to start the video on this in this fashion is because I've noticed when these divorces went down years ago, or at least the chaos, and in the case of Tom Brady, the divorce and eventually her moving on with her jiu-jitsu instructor, and then in the case of Prince Harry, you can't ask for a better setup and a glamorous wedding shot globally and aired on national television across the world, right? It was like the royal wedding of all weddings. And you give her the castle, you come from a royal family, and she still finds a way to dethrone a prince and put the entire family and expose them to a sort of a this immense shame and not classy at all. And somehow she made the discussion and topic and attention she was able to garner and flip that all around onto herself. And it's almost like she had the keys to the kingdom, and now she was pulling the strings as soon as the marriage vows were undertaken and they legally became married. Needless to say, and I'm not judging, but there's a pattern, right? She also, Megan Prince Margle, what, Megan Marble? What's her name? Whatever. Sparkle, whatever it is. But she was a ex-divorcee, right? So she was divorced in a previous life. And I know that the Queen Elizabeth, I believe, she wasn't a fan, and I think none of the family members were really a fan of Prince Harry actually making her his wife. Now, there's nothing wrong with falling in love with someone who's got a little bit of a history, right? And I myself have dated single mothers, and well, a very serious relationship with a single mom, prior stepfather. I've made videos about that, and that really, really took a toll on my health, mental health, psychology, and how I viewed dating single moms from that point onwards. And the pattern is the same. The pattern is the same, except that Meghan Markle um, became crowned a princess despite the past, right? And she has a bit of a past. And if you didn't know, I just found this out yesterday as I was watching Netflix and YouTube documentaries that she was actually she lived the yacht life. And if you know the yacht life, it's basically you get paid an X amount of money by these millionaires, like insane amounts of cash for a night out, a couple of days on a yacht, right? Multi-million dollar yacht. And these high stake rollers have their way and whereabouts with these women. Basically, you know what, a good time, a fun time, and then they cash in prices and they go back home. So that's that story, right? And before we know it, a year into the wedding, right, she puts Prince Harry through through the breaks. She takes him through a very stressful period in his life, right? And then if you look at Prince Harry's background, right, Princess Diana, he lost his mom at a very young age, and of course we know that she died in a horrific car accident. And some people even say that was planned or set up. I'm not here to make that a conspiracy theory. Actually, I'm not that guy to talk about it. I'm going by just bits and pieces of information that I've seen trending, right? So I'm just kind of throwing it in there. There's speculation. By all means, I'm not saying that's what happened. So when you take a guy like Prince Harry, innocent, right? He just looking at him, he just looks like someone that you put a woman as strong-willed as Megan with him as a wife, you can clearly see who's running the show. Like it's very obvious that she was pulling all the strings all along, and she had an agenda. And then eventually she got him to leave his family, I believe, and move out from the castle, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting your own space with your wife or your husband, and that's totally fine if you want a separate space and environment. But the mannerisms and the way she went about it was very disgraceful. And you don't have to publicize a lot of these intimate moments, but unfortunately, in this when you are a celebrity, your life in a sense is, it's out there, and paparazzi is right in your face every single day. So any drama, any gossip, boom, you're in for it, right? So the moral of that story is that she still found a way to um, find many things wrong with the relationship, despite having a red carpet rolled out for her. And I know in this day and age today, any woman would love to be in that shoes where you get picked as a princess despite having a background like that. Nothing wrong with that background, but God knows how much of that she did. I have no idea. But that's like the perfect ending for a woman like Megan, right? And she's not even like, I don't really find her super super attractive either. She's all right. For me, she's a strong seven. That's just me. And then in the case of Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady, do I need to say anything more than that? That guy's a Chad, man. I mean, he's got the jawline. He's well over six feet. I believe a seven-time NFL Super Bowl champion. Um, Millions of women would love to be with that dude, and but he continued to choose his wife regardless of how many championships he won. And his value as a man, even at 48 today, has peaked, and it will continue to peak because he's already done the work. Is my point. Moral of the story is, my background here, as you can see, I purposely am recording in front of this. Behind it as a backdrop is just a reminder that you put in the work day in, day out, and take care of your health, your body. If you're an athlete, be involved in sports and all of this great stuff, it's going to reward you later in life, because this is a compounding. Essentially, this behavior compounds the more you do it over time, and you can become unrecognizable. But I digress. Going back to Tom Brady, you look at how that guy came up, right? He's had his fair share of losses. He just didn't get here overnight, but he could still play football and probably win another championship if he really continued, if he really tried. I think he could still play even at the age of 46, 47. He had one more in him. And the moral of that story is that his wife became bored. This is like the longest pause I have ever taken in the video, like in any of my videos. She got bored. That it just came down to that in a nutshell. And Tom Brady is a good-looking dude. He's got all the physical characteristics that women look for when it comes to high value man, athlete, being in the limelight, the doors that opens up for the wife as a byproduct, because you're not part of his life, and he raised you up, right? He raised you up. Your come up was on his come up, right? And granted that you were there when he won his first ring and all that. I don't know the history, his dating life as such, but I know that she has been part of the journey, but none of this really had to do with her necessarily making him a better man, if that makes sense. Is because why do I say this? Is because she threatened him to leave football and to retire. For those who don't know, and if you recall, when he was still in the tail end of his year, I think he actually won one more ring to prove her wrong, right? And that probably set it spiraling, because she looked like an idiot. And how many women would love to trade places with Tom Brady and be that trophy wife? No pun intended. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you get something so perfect handed to you on a silver platter with millions of dollars, and you never have to work. And what's crazy about all of this, and what's honorable and worth noting, is Tom Brady picked her time and time and time and over again. And hats off to that guy, man. He demonstrated his undying love for his wife, regardless of her behavior and indecent exposure of the drama in the public spaces, news headlines, right? She got bored. And so she had an affair with her jujitsu instructor, who looks like a little bit of a chump, if I'm being honest, when you compare to Tom Brady. So she downgraded. She downgraded, right? Megan didn't necessarily cheat. She just kind of betrayed, misbehaved in a way that she could have handled this a lot better. But Tom Brady's wife moved on with someone else, like was seeing someone else in the thick of, because Tom Brady refused to take her lead, because he didn't get to where he got by listening to that stupid advice. You, as a man, have built yourself the mansion, the empire. We know what it takes, the guts and glory and the blood and tears, to compete with other men, to lose our battles, right? Because men know the hierarchy. When you see someone on top, you aspire to be like them. You're competing to get up that ladder to get there. Women operate a little bit differently. Women do not like each other. Women cannot stand each other for too long, and they talk shit about them all day. But guys, there's a reason why brotherhood thrives, even in the movies. There's a reason why brotherhood is actually a thing. We talk about the brotherhood, right? Nobody really talks about the sisterhood. In fact, a lot of women say that I have a lot of guy friends because they're less drama. Where's the lie? If they're a woman watching this, where's the lie? You can't tell me I'm lying, and this is not misogynist or being misogynist, and I'm not promoting that at all, because the definition of that means is that you hate women. I love women. Right? Let me make that very clear. I'm just calling out the behavior. And so when Tom Brady's wife moved on with this dude, I was just blown away. Like, Tom's got to have done something wrong, and no one's perfect, but you just don't walk away from a marriage in a setup like that, right? And I don't know if there was a divorce settlement as such, but her come up was, once again, his come up. It was based on his come up. Megan, her status, the access to things she wouldn't have otherwise had, marrying a normal man, right? She got her come up was on Prince Harry's come up. Let me get to Stephen Curry's wife. Do I need to say anything more? Do I need to say anything more? Stephen Curry's wife. A couple of years ago, Aisha Curry, that's the name. Aisha went public and had felt some sort of a way because she wasn't getting the clout or the attention, and she was low key hating on Stephen Curry. The guy is the greatest shooter. As much as I'm not a Warrior fan, but I cannot deny the talent. He's a better shooter than anyone I know. Even Kobe, who I live and die by. But it is what it is. He is the greatest shooter of all time. Good looking man too, by the way. So over 6 feet. The baby face. They call him the baby face assassin. Do you think her cooking, her cooking channel and this cooking endeavor, anyone gives a shit about that? Nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody gives a shit about her. She was nothing until Stephen Curry started winning and became the flame, the torch, the flamethrower, essentially. That guy was making buckets. That guy was winning championships. He dethroned LeBron more than LeBron. On it, Stephen Curry is clutch. LeBron, unfortunately, plays for the Lakers. LeBron is not as clutch as I thought he would be. Kobe's clutch. Okay. But here we have Aisha, who's also has not aged very well. Let me be polite. 2026, I want to be very polite, and because there's a lot of people they taking things personally. Unfortunately, it's not about your feelings. It comes down to calling a spade, and it is what it is, and that's how men are. And I think men need to start calling out women for a change in 2026. Regardless of the spotlight, the millions and millions and millions in generational wealth and dollars that Stephen Curry has earned, he continued to choose his wife. You never hear the guy on the news. He doesn't strike me as someone that would betray and cheat on his wife, even though it's understood in the NBA that in sports that you cheat and you come home to your wife and you're giving them that life. It's kind of a hidden code. It's understood that you're living a lifestyle, and I'm going to step out and you need to be okay with it. So Stefan Curry doesn't strike me as that guy. You never, ever hear him having an affair or cheating. I'm not saying it's not happened, but it's just he seems like he picks his wife every single time. The guy is a great father. The guy is a great role model. It doesn't get even any better than an NBA player like Stephen Curry, right? On the twilight years of his career, the guy is still on top. He can play. And well, how old is Stephen Curry? In his mid 30s, he could go out and get a smoking hot 21-year-old, file a divorce with Aisha, give her an X million amount of dollars for the child support and alimony, right? Which I think that the laws are really screwed in America, but that's just how it goes. And for him, it's going to be chump change, and then he starts a new life with a 22-year-old. And I can. It's not even rolling the dice or gambling on this one. The better life will still go to Stefan Curry. Basketball doesn't end for him when he retires. For Tom Brady, football didn't really end when he retired. All the work, the structure, the life that's ahead is generational wealth, peace, quiet, freedom. They both. Tom Brady is now dating supposedly a 25-year-old white girl, very pretty. I mean, she's decent. She's decent looking, right? Stefan Curry can go get a 25-year-old, younger if he chooses. See, and Prince Harry as well, right? But I think Prince Harry is still married and they start trying to iron out their differences. But the point also in all of this is that all these guys, all these men chose their wives. They continued to choose their wives. They were traditional men, right? And when the roof fell out, they were scratching their head like, where did they go wrong? All nice guys, all nice guys. Stefan, Tom, Prince, all nice guys. You can just see them, man. They're good dudes. Like I said in my other video, most dudes are good dudes just trying to get by. How cool is it that you're just a very kick-ass athlete and you made your living and providing for your wife and giving them everything, and all they had to do was keep the home together, be fit, feminine, and fresh, fit, feminine, right? And behave, right? Uphold your man's brand instead of pissing on it. It's not an excuse for me to end the video on this note and say that, well, if Stefan Curry and Tom Brady, you know, Prince Harry, they can't keep it together. What is an ordinary man like me going to do? Like, I, it's something to note though, because this to bring this all back, this is those relationships expose the bigger picture when it comes to modern dating and when it comes to just a normal average man, and men, we can accept that we are average, whereas women, they all think that they're a 9 or a 10, and their come up, as they say, get the bag, I'm a baddie, I'm a boss bee, right? Most of them, their come up is based on a man's come up, his wealth, his assets, his resources, and they're incentivized to leave it and hop off to another man with the cash and prices. Now let's downstream this to just an average man like myself. I think I'm just a little bit above average. I don't mind being called a 6'7". The girls I date are pretty decent looking, and they tell me like how handsome you are, and I'm an 8, I'm a 9, and some of them think I'm a 10, but I will take it all. I'm not here on the ranking scales. I don't live by that. I just want to be my best version, right? In my head, I'm a Kobe. In my head, I'm a Messi, right? I'm a big Messi fan, soccer. In my head, I'm a Jean-Claude Van Damme because I have a martial arts background, right? In my head, I am my own Chris Brown and Usher because I have a dance background. So these are the things I fuel myself and propel myself forward with, but also making a note and observation that you could have all the money and fame and fortune and generational wealth, and you can set up her life like a queen. All she needs to do is enter your life because you've set it up all for her, and she'll still find a way to f that up, man. And that's modern dating for you in a nutshell. That's modern dating for you in a nutshell. Okay, may end it here. That is the video. Till the next one. Mamba out.